Craftmas day 9. Now, I obviously have my Wellness Wednesday presentation in just under an hour, and I need to prep for it. I need to clean up my space because she's a little dirty, and I need to make sure that I have everything ready for later. So let's get to it, shall we? So now that that's all cleaned up, I'm going to go downstairs and get the rest of the things that I need. Bag, potatoes, and I'm pretty sure that's it. So let's go do that. We have all of our objects that we need. I've got to close that window because now the neighborhood dogs are barking and I don't want that to be in the lives. Then I've got to set up the camera. I've got a cable here that goes to my computer and I've got to make sure that everything is connected. And then we start time for some actual prep. The dogs. Anyway. Oh, the joys of living in suburbia. I actually almost forgot. One of the things that I wanted to add onto one of the gifts was some rosemary and lavender. So I'm going to go pick some of that. And now that I have this picked, I'm going to put it into little things with twine on them as a little bit of a present decor. And now I'm pretty much all ready for later, so now I've just got to wait for time to pass a little bit, and then we're going to get started very soon. And you will see that right now. So the audio didn't record to my computer while I was doing the presentation because it was being used in a different device. So what you do here is you try and figure out whether you're going to cut your potato lengthways or widthways. Now this very much depends on the size of the design that you're actually wanting to use. If you're wanting to have a much bigger design, then lengthways might be best. Put them on the paper towel and just let them dry off for a moment or two. I used cookie cutters for the first one, so you press the cookie cutter in for a few seconds or a few millimeters, and then what you do is you take your knife and you kind of cut around the edge, making sure to hit the cookie cutter, and you just cut a few millimeters off, you know, half an inch or half a centimeter or so. You don't really need very much, and then you place it on the paper towel to dry off. For the next one, I used a paring knife to cut a more freehand design. Now, obviously you don't want your design to be too complicated, because if your design is too complicated, then you end up losing a lot of detail when you're actually using it on the... What I like to do here is to kind of use the paring knife to kind of pop off some of the potato. As you can see, I'm kind of pushing the paring knife in and then squeezing it outwards to try and pop the excess of the potato off the edge. And then once you're done with that, again, just place it onto the paper towel to dry off a little bit more. So next up we have the preparation of the bag. I'm using a Checkers 6060 bag. It's a grocery delivery service here in South Africa where you order and you can receive your groceries within 60 minutes. So it's super useful. I'm using a little piece of smart vinyl as a paint canvas and painting on the paints onto the potato. Now I tend to use 3 stamps before repainting, as it tends to, you know, run out of paint. And I kind of find that's the best ratio to use here. I'm using a green paint on the Christmas tree. Happy accident, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't plan that intentionally anyway. And again, I tend to find that 3 stamps works out best for that one. You can also use glitter on the paint. Obviously you'll have to use it when the paint is still wet, but it does actually stick, which is quite cool. Now we have the wrapping of the gift. This one is going to be a little bit trickier for me to explain. This is going to be a pretty wrapping. It's been seen all over YouTube, and not gonna lie, that's where I got the idea. So you tend to cut a piece of wrapping paper that you need that's much bigger than what you actually think you might need, and you fold the top right the way over of the gift, and you can sticky tape it down. I find that it tends to help quite a bit. On the side, now what you want to do is you want to take the edge part and fold it in while not folding the top and the bottom, so you end up with two flaps. And then you can fold the top section over and then crease it. That you tend to get best results if you crease it only after you folded it. And you of course repeat the step on the other side. And then you pretty much do exactly the same for the other two flaps. You don't really fold them too much or crease them too much before you actually fold them over the gift. And then you just fold them in the same order. So first start on the left, then do the right, or you can first start on the right and then do the left for both the top and the bottom flaps. I also find that I tend to end up with a massive piece of wrapping paper at the bottom, so I kind of just cut it off and make it a little bit neater for the bottom section. I fold the side pieces in first and left with two little flaps at the top. Fold the one flap in, and if you don't like a little pointy end, you can just fold that one section over to make it look a little bit neater. And there you have one of those, super special gifts. And what I did here was I actually took some rosemary and some lavender and tied it up with in a knot with a pretty little bow, and kind of slid it in the gift because I, thought that it looked quite cute. And now we start with the making of the little gift bag. So if you don't have your own gift bags, this is a great little method to use, or if you want to wrap something strange. So you want to fold in either side of the wrapping paper, kind of meeting in the middle, and using a very generous piece of sticky tape, stick it down together. You can use double-sided tape on the inside if you want it to look a little nicer. Then you're going to fold up one of the sides, depending on how wide you want the bag. If you want the bag to be quite wide, you want to fold it up quite high. You then open up that flap and fold in the corners, so you make little triangles on either side. Then you crease them out a little bit and you fold those flaps in. You want to have them overlapping a little bit so that you can have a little bit of a strong base. And then you stick that down with a generous piece of sticky tape. If you are okay with the bag being like that, you can end there. But if you want to crease in the sides, you'll fold in the side piece to align with the triangle at the base. You can then open up the bag and start counter folding. Some of the folds will be in the wrong direction, so you take the folds that are currently in and you fold them out, and the ones that are currently out and you kind of fold them in, if that makes any sense to you. Makes sense in my head. And you do that for both sides of the bag, and then you pretty much have your gift bag. I've obviously done this with crepe paper, so it is a little bit flimsy, but if you want it a little bit stronger, then you can do it with a much stronger paper. And then you can fold over the top, and then you have your bag for your randomly or strangely shaped object. And that, folks, is a wrap. So we have, as normal, a ton of cleanup to do, but we all had a lot of fun making our wrapping paper. I think it is super cute and it'll look stunning underneath the tree. So I hope that you guys get to do the same and that you have beautiful wrapping paper for underneath your tree. And I will see you for day 10 of Craftmas tomorrow. And remember, be kind to someone today. See you soon.